these two here. All right, so here's the first one. Can you guys see this all right? All right, so crazy fraction. You remember what's this? It's a starting amount, right? So if we look back through, it says sample of unknown chemical element naturally loses its mass over time. It's saying it starts with this much mass. Starts with 120 grams. All right. What's this? Good. We call that the growth factor. And then it's important to note today what the variables are and their units, right? So T is in months. So right now it says for every 1 month, it gets multiplied by 81 over 625, okay? So the question today is complete the following sentence. The mass of the sample decays by a factor of 3/5 every how many months? Now let me zoom out here. 3/5 by a factor of. So the other day I said, when you see that language, by a factor of, it should be 3/5 in parentheses, right? But does it say that right now? No, it says 81 over 625. So what we need to figure out is how did they go, or how can we go from 3/5 to 81 over 625? What exponent can we use to get there? 3, maybe? Okay, so 3 to the third, is that 81?
4.
No, all right. It's to the fourth, yeah. So it has to work for both, obviously, right? And so 3 to the fourth is 81. 5 to the fourth is 625. You could guess and check, right? Not a big deal. So what's happening is we have a new equation. Our new equation looks like this. It's not really new, but it looks this way. Now it fits what they're asking. It says the mass of the sample decays by a factor of 3/5 every how many months? Now, here's the other part of the problem. If we go back to the assignment from the other day, the exponent was always like this, T over something, right? It was always T over 5, and that'd be like every 5 months. So what does it mean then, now that the exponent has not a fraction, but a whole number there? It means it happens 4 times in a month, which means it happens once a quarter of a month, right? So we're just going to flip it. If something happens 4 times in a cycle, we could say it happens every 1/4 of that cycle, right? So now this is saying every 4 times in a month. 4 times in a month. It happens once every 1/4. So in other words, when we see this exponent here, when we see the exponent and it's multiplied, we're going to make a fraction as our answer. We're going to flip it upside down. Okay, but the question is tough because of this relationship right here between these two things. All right, let's do another one of these. Complete the following sentence about the rate of change of the number of bacteria. Every second, the number of bacteria is multiplied by a factor of how much? So this is much different than the previous question. We notice up here the units already match, right? But this is saying every 3 seconds. That's what that means. Every 3 seconds, it's multiplied by 8 over 27. What about every 1 second? Well, here's what we can do. We can just simply do this. It says every how often? So that means like every 1 second, right? So what happens if t equals 1? Let's plug this in right here. And let's not worry about the initial amount. Let's just talk about the growth factor. 8 over 27 to the 1/3. Does anybody know what that is? Try again. Cubed root is what we're doing because it's 1/3. Who remembers what the cubed root of 8 is? 2. What's the cubed root of 27? 3. Awesome, right? You can just use a calculator too if you're stuck on that sort of thing. But it said every second. We can just plug it in. We don't have to change the units on this one. That's the difference there, all right? Do one more of these. Yeah, gotcha. Doesn't look like it has a starting thing. This one? Right there, gotcha. Let's do that one right now. All right. Relationship between T and blah, 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 right? It says this is our equation. Complete the following sentence about the monthly rate of change and the number of people who receive the email. Let's not forget our exponent rules. What does it mean if exponents have been added? What happened? Multiplied. So in other words, it's like 2 to the 3t times 2 to the 7th. That's what that means. All right. Now, this is a number. So somebody want to punch that in for me? See if you can beat me. Nice try. All right. So now the question says this. Complete the following sentence about the monthly rate of change and the number of people who receive the email. Every month. All right. Is time up here in months? It is, right? It is already months, so we don't have to change it. What happens every month? So let's plug in 1. And let's worry about just this part. We don't really need this. Not important. Plug in 1. 3 times 1 is 3. 2 to the 3rd, 8. There we go. All righty. It's 8. 2 to the 3rd is 8. So we had to split this thing apart. That was the first thing. We did 2 to the 7th. And then said what happens every 1 month? Plug in 1. Okay. Anybody got a question about that? All right, let's do the other assignment. Let's talk about that one. Changing units. Here we go. Down here, it's asking about months. But up here, they tell us it's in years. Now, we know that 1 year is 12 months. Complete the following sentence about the monthly rate of change in the number of branches. The problem is up here, it's given in years, right? It's given in years. So complete the following sentence about the monthly rate of change in the number of branches. All right, every month, the number of branches increases by a factor of what? Right now, it says 2.5 per year. 2.5 per 1 year. We want to know what is it per month. So how do we have to change this? What's that? What'd you say? Divide by 12. Good. So we have to rewrite this growth factor to say this. It does it once every 12 months. Okay, that's the difference there. Not times 12, but divide by 12. Once every 12 months. Now, that's what it does every 12 months. What do we have to do then to say about every 1 month? All right, let's do this. Let's plug it in. 2.5, because it says every 1 month. Oh my goodness. Let me do that on here. 2.5 to the 1/12.
Oh, I just divided it by 12.
Oh, gotcha. So this would be 1 point, what are we rounding to? 2 decimal places. So 1.08. All right, so I had to transform this into t over 12, saying it happened every 12 months. Then I have to say, all right, every 1 month. So it's just like the other question then where I plug in 1. Yeah? Okay. Obviously, the growth rate is smaller per month, isn't it? This number 1.08 is much different than the 1 per year. You can't just divide a rate, though, because it's an exponential equation, right? We can't do that. We have to divide the exponent. Okay? This one's essentially the same. Let's skip that one. Let's do this one. 1 week is how many days? 7 days. Right now it says weeks, but it wants every day. Mm-hmm. 1 week is equal to how many days? 7. All right. So we got 0.79 t over 7. So it says every day. Let's plug in 1 day. Now I want to point this out. On both of these examples I've done so far, we went from a larger unit, right? On the last one we did years to months, down to a smaller unit. This one we went from weeks, which is a larger unit, down to smaller units, right? So on both of those we divided. What are you going to have to do if they go the other way? You're going to have to multiply. So if they start with days and they end up with weeks, you're going to write 7t up here. You understand the difference, okay? So I want to point that out. You're just going to have to do the opposite. And then you're going to want to plug in 1. All right, so anyway, we plug in 1 there. What you get, Arya? All right, let's go for it. Got it. Bingo. Okay? That should be good for those two.